overtime. Oh, gee, baby. And we're down one. Sandra Smith had a run. She's going to get her hair done for the next thing she's doing. Although I thought it looked fabulous.
Yeah.
She had to run.
Yes.
So that
I have to get my hair done, too. I got to be out of here soon.
So that was an interesting show. We ended with Sean Spicer at the mic.
Yes.
The hot mic. He wasn't dropping it. He hadn't started to take questions yet.
No.
Because that's when mics get thrown and dropped and so on and so forth. Your take on where we are with the daily press briefing?
You know, I look forward to the daily press briefing. It used to be like get your popcorn situation. I remember Ari Fleischer during the Iraq War was always good. And even Gibbs with Obama was funny and feisty. And I feel like Perino is just a class act. I just feel like the excitement of it and the must-see TV part of it is gone. I'm not like feeling Spicer how I should feel Spicer. I just want him to kick it up a notch.
It could be interpreted.
Yeah, okay, well, let's not get the wrong idea. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I just want someone with like a little more teeth in there, and the Melissa McCarthy thing really, really hurt him. And I know the president was upset that a woman played his press secretary. I don't think it matters, but I think to Trump it matters.
But if parody takes over and it becomes more than you as a person, which I would debate happened with Sarah Palin after SNL, don't underestimate the power of popular culture and people knowing him only as Melissa McCarthy. I agree with Jesse that I think it really did hurt him.
That's an interesting thing, because you won't see that obviously with President Trump, because everybody, probably more people are familiar with him than would be with Alec Baldwin, unless you watch a lot of, comedy.
His impression also isn't good. It has to be a biting, effective impression. I think Melissa McCarthy could probably win an Emmy for it. Tina Fey did win an Emmy for her impression. These are amazing comedic women. I think Alec Baldwin is at best a bad actor.
So do you replace anybody at this game? I mean, Sean Spicer, it's not like he's not doing his job.
It's too early. I think it's too early right now. But I think doing this position for President Trump is probably got to be the hardest job, like the hardest press secretary gig that there ever was.
Absolutely.
Because you look at just
but I'm sorry, you could do it better.
Well,
look at Robert Gibbs early on in the Obama administration. Robert Gibbs didn't stay long. Many of his core people very early on. That's not out of the ordinary. Those first few people in there, that's a tough thing to do.
But I just think that the hostility from the media is at an all-time high and something unprecedented and something that we haven't seen before.
So it might hurt anybody.
I just think standing up in front of rabid reporters, when we look at the statistics and the way the Trump administration, where Trump candidate as a candidate was covered, the way the Trump administration is being covered, you look at a lot of unsubstantiated things are being presented as truth in the media. So I just think standing in front of all those reporters, I think we underestimate what a tough gig that is. I mean, I would like to see Sean Spicer in 4 years if he's in that job. And
no, nobody ever stays that long. But I mean,
usually 2 years.
2 years, even 2 years, just given the stress of.
But my point with Robert Gibbs and some of the others, I mean, for the Democrats, even when the media was not this rabid, it's a tough gig. You're up 24 hours a day. Plus, Sean Spicer, and I'm not defending the guy. I mean, we've had him on the couch before. He knows what he can do and what he can't do, but he was doing two jobs for a while until they had identified who they're going to put up for communications director last week, Dubke. So, I mean, those are two huge jobs. One's all about messaging, which we know has not necessarily at the lectern been his strong point, Sean Spicer. He struggled.
Listen, and no one's saying he's not a nice man who was good at his job in the past. When we talked about this before he was officially named, he wasn't anywhere near my first choice. I think you need a sarcastic, biting person who can go up against, as you made the great point, a media that is already so combative. And he seems to get sort of caught up in anxiety or something. I don't know, but I think you need someone, quite frankly, with attitude like you.
Yeah, thank you. I can't take the pay cut.
Some quick positive from our live chat, though. Blue Ridge Dog is getting some likes. I really like Spicer. I always like everybody that I'm going to read, so mine are neutral. But and then Artinson1 says, press secretary is a miserable job, especially the media that Spicer has to face. I agree with Lisa. So, I mean, honestly, it's been tough. It's been tough for him. It's only been a few weeks.
It has. I think when he came out and he was going to say, I'm the kind of guy that's going to stuff these guys in a locker day in and day out, that has to be believable. And I think he tried to assume this, like, I'm Trump's hitman. And I don't think he just has the gumption. And he's not the kind of guy that the press fears. He's not the kind of guy that presents any sort of swag or attitude. So I don't know if he can't fill up the podium,
but I also,
physically, and also, there's a lot of stuff that, it's a gut thing. But you either feel it or you don't feel it, and I think a lot of people just aren't feeling it.
But I also think, so as Harris had pointed out, the hiring of Mike Dupke as a communications director, I actually worked with him for a period of time on public policy and political campaigns. He was my boss, and I think having someone like that in that role is so important, because a lot of what the Trump administration has been doing in regards to press has really been drinking from a fire hose, and you need, I've been a communications director before, and you really need to be the long-term strategic thinker, the person that is coming up with a strategic communications plan for each of the things they're trying to execute.
Jobs.
Yeah, and they haven't been getting out in front on a lot of these issues, and he's very smart, he's very strategic, he reads things really well, and that's exactly what the Trump administration needs, is that forward-thinking, the organization, so maybe that will help Spicer.
And that's decidedly different from a guy who's going to be reacting constantly, hour by hour, to tweets and headlines, which is Sean Spicer, whether they're coming from the administration or from the media or from Democrats or wherever they're coming from. I mean, that's more along his job. Dubke's going to be tasked with what you said, laying out a strategy for messaging. Chaos Hiker says, agreed, facing a pack of press wolves, tough job. What do you think about the president calling the media the enemy?
I think it's an effective strategy. Listen, the Democrats are out of power. They're irrelevant. Pelosi's not even a second thought. Schumer can't do anything except gum up the works. So the media has now come in, and they've assumed the official opposition. Bannon said it himself. They're the opposition. They're the tip of the spear. Now they're going to do the job that the Democrats in Congress and the Senate can't do. So I don't think it's destroying the First Amendment when you say the press is the enemy. I think Trump is just aligning himself with the people. He's saying that the press does not have the people's best interests at heart. And I think if you look at some of the fake news stories, they don't.
You know what's interesting about what you just said? I hadn't heard anybody put it this way. But if it's looked upon by the president, the White House, his administration, that the press, at least the way he sees it, would be an extension of the Democrat Party, since they apparently, according to you, would be impotent to making their own arguments, then what was said by Hillary Clinton toward the Republicans is kind of on par with that, because that's who she labeled the enemy.
Yeah, Hillary
so you're
labeled
saying it's political. It's not. It has nothing to do with constitutional amendments.
Political enemy is a lingo that's been used for generations. Obama said it himself. He used the word enemy when he was talking about Latinos getting our enemies, back up off the midterm situation. And then Hillary said it herself. The Republicans were the enemy. So everyone's burning their hair on fire. It's just talk. Well, and nothing more than that.
I'm not burning my hair on fire.
You're not, but a lot of people in the press are saying, oh my goodness.
Do you know what? The one thing that I don't like is that, not to talk out of turn to my friends. One of my friends has gained a considerable amount of weight. She said she got on the scale, took a picture of it, and wrote fake news and texted it to me. So the term fake news is sort of taken on a life of its own. She doesn't care about politics at all, doesn't follow it. So when every single thing is fake news, and I think that anything that's not just a complete and utter, wet kiss to the administration is considered fake news.
Well, I agree with that. But when everything Trump does is a Nazi salute or Hitler,
of course,
it takes the same meaning.
The left did this to themselves. I mean, you get no compassion from me, and I can give you, as everyone on this couch can do, hours and hours of examples of the hypocrisy between how they cover Republicans and Democrats.
But the media did it to themselves, too. And I think John Dickerson, CBS's John Dickerson, is absolutely correct. Actually, this is what I'm writing my column on this week for the Washington Examiner, is the fact that the media has done this to themselves. And if you look at media research, has done a good job of sort of going through, all the surveys over, I think decades, and all of them, the media skews left. I mean, it's just undeniable. So, and if you have worked in Republican politics and you've seen it on, you've been out there, working in the trenches on this stuff, there's just utter and complete bias, but nobody has stood up to them and nobody has called them out. So I actually appreciate I think he takes it too far. Like saying they're the enemy of the people, that's too far for me. But I appreciate the fact that he is out there saying and calling them out for this liberal bias.
I love John.
So whenever I tune in Facebook Live, you automatically always hear, no matter what my phone's set to, a little bit of the audio to let you know it's landed, which really works unless you're sitting here.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, I was like, what is that?
I was going to say about the media, O'Reilly had Marianne Marshall on the other day, who's a Democrat, and he asked her a very simple question, which was pretty embarrassing. He said, can you name a conservative presence at ABC News? She couldn't. He goes, can you name a conservative presence at CBS? Can you name one at NBC? Can you name a conservative presence at CNN? I can't name one conservative person Is she a conservative president? Is she an anchor? I don't even think she's an anchor. Maybe she's a paid pundit. But I mean, it just doesn't exist. So everyone's shocked that the press hates Trump. Well, it's because they don't have any conservatives.
Jeffrey Scrontz is watching Facebook Live, and he says, Jesse Waters, you demand.
Thank you. Yeah.
Hey, great to have you here today.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We'll see you tomorrow, everybody. Wait, where's the camera? There it is.
Oh, yeah. Where's that?